And welcome everybody from wherever you are. I'm pleased that you're here. I love to teach, and really what I love to do is to serve. And I know as family wellness chiropractors, we share that. We spend an incredible amount of time, energy, and money to become chiropractors. And that's just to graduate and get our license and all the practice, all the continuing education, the seminars, the conversations with colleagues that we have, and everything is all designed to do one thing, and that's to deliver amazing chiropractic and to change people's lives, right? And it's not even a huge shift sometimes, right? It can just be a small shift today that makes a huge difference later, right? Getting that first adjustment is that huge shift. One of the astronauts, I think it was Neil Armstrong, said that if we land on the moon and we're off by an inch or two in our landing spot, it's really no big deal. But when we blast off, if we're off by an inch or two, we will miss the moon entirely, right? And so at the beginning of any journey, there's a there's a goal, there's an aim, there's a direction. And our patients know what that is, and we want to deliver that for them. And part of that is being able to educate them in a way that lets them understand how to look at health. We don't necessarily have to tell them what to think, but we want to teach them how to think. And being able to apply some sort of critical thinking and have a healthy perspective on the different situations, the health situations that arise, is really important if we expect people to stick through their initial course of care beyond just feeling better, right? Because that's their focus. It's just feeling better. We're looking beyond that. We want to show them what lies there, right? Retention, being able to get people to understand the value of your care, even in the absence of symptoms, wellness care, maintenance care, whatever term you choose to use. And then being excited enough to be able to refer their friends and family. And to that end, chiropractors have routinely, historically, done what's called the new patient orientation workshop. I used to do mine on Wednesdays. And I came across certain obstacles to filling the class. And the number one was schedule conflicts. Right? I personally don't know any doctors who stay more than one night per week. Some are even waiting every 2 weeks, getting their new patients together. And it's a limited availability to them. So what I want to share with you is a way to increase your availability to make yourself able to reach more and teach more of your new patients in an effort to grow that wellness practice that you desired. So this is what this 30 minutes is designed to do, is to share with you the program that I put together to help you do that. I'm so excited to share it with you. Been working on this a long time. And so let's get right into it. There'll be time for some questions at the end if you folks have them. Happy to stick around and answer questions at the end. So let's dive right into it. First thing I'm going to do is to turn off my video, and I'm going to share my screen with you. So allow me a moment to make that happen. So here's my question that I have for you. Would you rather have all of your new patients attend your workshops so they can get that foundational information that they need? Or would you rather have all of your nights free? And really, I want to know is why would you choose when you can have both? And that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to show you how you can unlock higher attendance, how you can achieve more new patient education class attendance so that people start to get the bigger picture in chiropractic, what we like to call the big idea, so that you can create more wellness patients and have all the benefits that come from that. A couple of which is more predictable monthly income and the ability to optimize your time. So I want to make sure everyone's in the right seat. Okay? Are you a family wellness chiropractor? Do you love to talk the tick? Because that's important. You don't have to necessarily have all of the analogies and conversations, but you got to have that love to talk the tick and reinforce the concepts that people learn in a new patient education workshop, because just having them sit down for an hour is a great foundation, but it takes that reinforcement visit by visit. Are you that doc? If you're that doc, then this is the place for you. Okay. If you're less than satisfied in how many patients you get and how many patients rather attend your new patient education workshop, the time it takes the CAs for rescheduling and chasing people with emails and phone calls and so forth, and you're certainly not going to stay late every night to accommodate every schedule, this is for you. If you're done feeling deflated, I was. I've had times where I had 6 or 8 people for the class, one person shows up, or it's low attendance, 1 or 2 people, and they're no call, no shows, and I canceled the class altogether. That's deflating. If you feel that way, then stick with me because I think you're really going to like this. Okay, maybe you get good attendance in your classes and you get a good wellness patient base, but you know what? The ROI and your time to do that class just isn't there for you. So maybe you stop doing the classes. Okay. You're busy, coaching sports with your family and your kids. And well, maybe you'd rather be spending your time doing more um, personally fulfilling tasks, maybe working with tough patients and clients in the office, things that you can't delegate. Okay. Stick with me. This is for you. So, what are we going to do today? We're going to take a look at why a new patient education workshop is so important in the first place. You know that because you're probably either doing one now or you're interested in restarting something that you used to do. What are the obstacles to filling a class and what's the solution? My promise to you today is that you walk away understanding the Headspace Before Habits program. Okay, it is a virtual new patient education class, different than any other new education, a new patient, sorry, education workshop. So excited, I'm stumbling over my words. My goal is to make it easy for you to increase your reach, to teach more people, and to drive that wellness practice that you dreamed of when you open your doors. So, why do we do a new patient workshop to begin with? There's lots of reasons, right? Number one is we want our patients to stay with us longer. We know that people who stay longer get good clinical outcomes, better clinical outcomes, right? We've all had patients that came in for complaint X and we laid out a course of care, initial care, so many visits over the first 2, 3, 4 weeks in order to get the symptoms under control, hopefully relieve them completely, and start some sort of strength and stabilization in their spine and in their nervous system. But what happens? A few visits in, they're feeling good, and all of a sudden they drift. You don't see them for 4, 5, 6 days. What happened? Well, gee, I was feeling good, doc. You're great. You really did your job early. You did it fast, right? Well, we know that that's a setup for failure, right? That's the medical model. Go away when your symptoms go away, come back when your symptoms come back. As family wellness chiropractors, that's not what we're about. The second is time. How important is it for you to have the time to learn something new, something that's not in your awareness right now? We go to CEs for relicensing, and I can almost guarantee every one of us learns something, even if we quote unquote know it all, right? Hang out in the hallway, talk to our buddies for a while. There's always something. John DeMartini taught me that. He spoke at Life University, and he said, "Look, I was like you when I was sitting through chiropractic college. I'm thinking, why am I in this, GI class when I'm going to be adjusting? I don't need to know the Krebs cycle." He said, "You, if you look for something to learn in any situation, you will learn it. There's always something that you can take away. But it takes time to be able to let this new information sink in. And we simply can't reorient our patient's brain as to how they think when they come in for their adjustment. They're busy. They drove here to the office. They were in traffic. They just left a job or they're just going into work. They've got all sorts of stuff on their mind. They are not focused on the words coming out of our mouth. They just aren't. Certainly not in any way where we can land any new information. Um, Time, very, very important factor to be able to sit people down and give them that foundation rather of understanding of how to look at health. Okay. I have been all three of these people. I have been disheartened and jaded. I have other things that I love to do besides, on top of, I shouldn't say besides, it's complementary to chiropractic care. My thing was a human stress response. I want to teach people about how they can mitigate the stress in their lives. And, I'm sure you have a complementary interest as well. Maybe it's nutrition, maybe it's pediatrics, maybe it's sports performance, but it's something on top of the adjustment, on top of chiropractic that you also have a passion about. But if you're not able to have that conversation with people because they're stuck in the pain mode, that's a problem, right? I felt disheartened, like, oh my God, I've got all this great stuff, but I just can't get it out there. If I feel frustrated and undervalued, absolutely. You know how many times I heard things like, gee, I'd love to come to the class, doc. Wednesday's jujitsu night. What are the nights you do the class? Would love to come. Sounds great. Well, I don't do it any other night. It's really, gee, I'd love to come. I just don't see how we can do it. Right. And then looking at the practice, feeling stagnant, and I personally felt stagnant because I'm doing all these things that my practice management people and my coaches are telling me to do, and my colleagues are saying, hey, this works for me. Then you look at posts that are on social media and you're like, oh my God, how come they're doing so great? What's wrong with me? Why am I stagnant? And not only is my practice stagnant when I look at the numbers, but it would actually be personally. I felt like, all right, where am I going? What's next? Like, what am I supposed to do? Because it seems like I'm doing everything. Other people are having success, right? I don't want anyone to feel like that. If this sounds like you're in the right place. But it's important to understand that just like subluxation is a symptom of a nervous system gone awry, what we talked about, these emotions of being disheartened or jaded or stagnant and frustrated, practice not being where we want it to be, and so forth. Maybe our vacations aren't as exciting as we'd like them to be, right? Those are symptoms of a bigger issue. Okay. I call it the two T's of new patient education that need to be addressed, and those are called time and trust. And we're going to take a peek at those today. And I'm going to show you how I solve those problems for you. Okay. And once you make these shifts to understand that time can be expanded, that trust can be expanded, then you see greater greater attendance in the new patient education process in that workshop. You get your after hours back because you don't have to do everything it takes to DIY this class. Okay. Your patients are going to be more engaged because they have a new perspective on health. They're going to say, oh my God, doc, I had no idea that that's how that really worked. I had no idea the immune system was controlled by the nervous system and that every adjustment makes my immune system that much stronger, right? And when you start having these conversations, you'll find that people are actually more engaged and you feel more fulfilled. In fact, the whole office will, okay? And the goal naturally is to have more chiropractic understanders, which drives the wellness care. Right? We get better compliance, better retention, better referrals. And that's what this is designed to make for you. Real briefly, who the heck am I? I graduated Life University in Marietta, 2010. Very proud of the fact that I won my class's Chiropractic Philosophy Distinction Award. I don't know if won is the right word. It really wasn't a competition, right? I didn't even think of it, actually. It was just something that naturally came to me, and I absolutely love teaching. And that's where I learned to do it, was at the Talk to Tick competitions in school. I talked a lot in the community. I used to do group ROFs in the office, and I really wanted to reach more and teach more people. And then I got it. I understood that I could expand time and I could go beyond just talking to my patients. I could help many chiropractors reach their people with the fundamental health information that we need to be able to drive more wellness patients in our practice. Okay. And here's what I mean by time and trust. Time. Okay. What do you do in the office? You spend one night a week. Maybe it's once every 2 weeks, possibly once a month. That's pretty rare to see chiropractor just doing monthly classes. Most chiropractors I know are either doing it weekly or every 2 weeks. Some, though, like I say, have stopped because they found out that the ROI on their time wasn't very good. So even though they see the value in the class, they couldn't justify doing it themselves in their life. Okay. People cancel. Patients need to be rescheduled. You're making the calls, the team is making the calls, or you're doing email back and forth trying to get people back rescheduling. That's a hassle. Okay. And it's an expense, quite honestly. I know you have your team there anyways, but any time spent redoing certain things naturally is taking away time that they could be doing new tasks. Smaller attendance. As I said, people have scheduling conflicts. So if they can't show up on, Tuesday at 6:30 when you have your class, that's their only option. Okay. This is where Headspace Before Habits comes in. I'll be teaching this full time, somewhere between 4 and 8 times the availability each week. There will be minimum of 16 spots per month for patients to schedule care. My goal is to increase the access and the convenience for your patients. Your patients, instead of having one choice, Tuesday, 6 o'clock, okay, they can look at my calendar, which you present to them, and they'll say, oh, you've got afternoon and evening classes. You have late and early classes. You have a couple of days a week, a couple of times per day. And that increases the flexibility tremendously. And it's every week. I teach the same vitalistic content that you want your patients to know. It's the fundamental information that we need to have people get. The fact, for example, that if they're feeling what they would call sick and they have a cold or a flu, well, it's actually beneficial to come in more often, right? I don't know if you've heard it. I've heard it. Gee, doc, I didn't want to come to the office. I didn't want to get everyone else sick, right? It's a perfect opportunity to be able to explain to people how germs really work and that it's the susceptibility of the host that is really important, not just the fact that a germ is floating around in the environment somewhere, right? Because let's face it, germs are everywhere, right? If germs cause disease, then everybody would always be symptomatic, but that's not the case. So the same vitalistic content that you want your people to know, that's what we're going to talk about in the class. And here's the thing, these classes are live and interactive. There is no recorded material. I teach all of these classes live in an interactive setting. It's 60 minutes of content, 30 minutes of Q&A at the end. I want people to be able to interact. If I'm in their seat, and probably same for you, if you're in their seat and you're learning something, isn't it better to be interactive, to get your questions answered, to be able to call BS on something that you're not quite sure about? Because if not, isn't your brain stuck? Mine is. My brain will be stuck on something that I didn't quite get, and I'm still trying to figure it out. Meanwhile, the speaker is still talking, and now I'm missing new content, and it's not landing. So I think it's really, really important to simulate the in-office experience as much as possible. So all classes are taught live and interactive. Okay. Trust. You're probably asking yourself, can I trust this guy? Why would I let him teach my new patients that I work so hard and spend so much money and effort to acquire? And I'm just going to hand them off to the stranger? No, no, you're not. Okay. Just like healing takes time, principle 6, doc, trust takes time. And I understand that. I understand that. I'm not asking you to buy anything today. Okay. Just introducing the program and see if it makes sense that we take the next step and have a conversation around it. Okay. Trust takes time. You don't know me. Frankly, I don't know you. And we're both sort of interviewing each other when we get to a place where we have a one-on-one conversation. Because you want to make sure that I'm who I say I am and that I'm going to take great care of your patients. I'm going to teach them the right things. And I'm not going to do anything to jeopardize any trust that you've built with them. And by the same token, I want offices that can thrive and succeed with what I've put together. And it's important that we fit well for each other. Okay. Trust, very important, takes time. Okay. Another way to build trust is the fact that you and your team have unlimited access to every single workshop. You can come and attend, audit it, You'll know what is being taught, how it's being taught. Very, very important. I'm only teaching the common health ideas, the common concepts that we want people to have a new perspective on. A big one is feeling, right? Most people are going to judge their health by how they feel. Hey, if I feel good, I'm healthy. If I feel bad, I'm sick. Well, we know that's not true. We know that function is a much greater measuring stick, a more reliable, rather, measuring stick for health. We talk about in the class that about that in the class, and I go over examples of how that is and why that is. Okay, just as a brief example, we know that the sensory nerves in the body are only a small portion of the nerves. So if we're only judging our health by how we feel, there's a lot of information that we're missing. Chiropractic is a process, right? There's that principle 6 again, right? Process versus an event. Healing takes time. It's not like taking a rock out of your shoe. Okay, people don't understand that chiropractic is a process, but they need to be aware that there was a process of degeneration in their spine and their nervous system. So there'll be a process of regeneration. Now we know that the body wants to heal. Its natural state is ease. It's going to heal more quickly than it got in trouble. They need to know that. Being proactive versus reactive is a huge one, right, docs? We want people to understand that. Why would you pick and choose body parts to be proactive and reactive to and treat them differently? Right? And the answer is because they weren't taught to be proactive with their spine. Their parents didn't know, their grandparents didn't know, they never got that education around it. They were taught to be proactive almost everywhere else in life, right? Exercise and nutrition, right? For heart, lung, muscle fitness, showers and shampoos for your hair and your skin, brushing and flossing for your dental hygiene, and so on. Even things that aren't health related. They're taught to put gas in the car, like I was, right? Don't wait till you run out on the side of the road. When you get low, fill it up. Well, no one makes us do that. We just know that that's being proactive. It's being smart. It's staying out of crisis mode. But they weren't taught that with their spine and their nervous system. So they wait until crisis mode. We need to shift that, right? And then kids in chiropractic is a thing. I don't know how many of you out there adjust children and like to do that. It's okay. I don't make it a huge part of the educational process, but that's but that's a piece of it too. I want people to understand that kids in chiropractic is a thing, and it's totally appropriate to get adjusted. And there's more that I talk about accumulated stress over time, uh, getting people to understand that there are things that you can have that aren't healthy, that don't hurt, and so forth. Here's what I don't talk about. I don't talk about technique. I don't talk about exercises. I don't talk about nutrition. Not in any not in any way that would tell them this is how you should approach this. These are your patients. Your technique is your technique. Honestly, it's none of my business. I applaud you for choosing what you choose and getting people well how you do it. Things like exercises, stretches, nutrition. I will say that that's important, but I will never give anybody a specific exercise, a specific nutritional piece of advice, a specific stretch in order to address a specific complaint that they may have if they ask me such a question. Any question that has to do with their care, every one of them, I defer those questions and deflect those questions back to you because you're the expert in their care. You know them. I can't go down that road and confuse things for the patients and jeopardize the trust and the relationship that you've built. Simply don't do it. And here's something that I don't know how much this is prevalent in people's minds, but it's probably sitting in there. Why, am I going to lose any patients? Right? Is this guy going to take my patients? Well, look, number one, no. Number two, no. Number three, no. I I put this program together to help you and also selfishly to help me. I want to get out of the office eventually. I love adjusting, but I want some location independence for my life. I've been going to an office and adjusting people for, well, going on 16 years now. And I simply need to have a strategy and a plan to be able to carry on what I love to do, which primarily is the teaching part of it, without being locked into going to a location. So I'll put in writing that if I jeopardize anything and if I ever did anything to try to take a patient out of your office, that there are protections that you have for that. And I'll put that in writing that I'm getting out of the office And this is done solely to help you build that thriving practice that you're looking for. Okay. Couple choices now, Doc. Number one, you can try to figure this out. You can keep hammering away at it. Maybe it takes another 5 or 10 years to really get it down. Excuse me. You can keep doing what you've always done. Probably going to get what you've always got. Or if you're really ready to do something different and to look at something and explore the opportunity, see if this makes sense for you. We'll talk about it in more detail. I can show you how to best implement the program that I put together. Reach more, teach more of your new patients. Make that impact. Increase your compliance, your retention, your referral rates. Save money on the expense of external marketing because your internal referrals are better referrals. And you can start to do that right away. So, excuse me, I've set aside time in the next few weeks to talk with you one-on-one. On this call, we'll cover the details of my program. I really want to know what your practice is like, where the shortcomings are as you see them. Excuse me, what you'd like to do to help repair that. Okay. I can tell you how I can help. I'm not a practice management coach. I don't have all the paperwork and the scripts and the hiring and firing processes and everything else. I can help with your new patient education. I can deliver an amazing workshop for your people. And I can also help you, if you need it, with reinforcing these ideas tableside. Okay. But it starts with a conversation to see if we can work together. No charge for this. Okay. No charge for this. This is a free consultation that we'll have on the phone. We can do it on the telephone. We can do it by Zoom. Set aside about 45 minutes, longer if you like. We can go a little bit over if you have other questions, but I'd really love to know if it's possible that we could work together. So once again, I really want to make sure that you're serious about wanting to make some changes and that you're a good fit, right? So this is really only for chiropractors who are serious about making a commitment and to grow the practice. It's not for docs who either don't talk the tick table side because otherwise these concepts are just gonna hit and they're gonna land and then they're gonna fall on the floor and they'll be wasted. A lot of the pain and accident injury docs that have talked to would love to get more people to come in for routine wellness care, but they don't really know how to go about it. I don't know that this program is ideally fit for them, but if they're open to making changes and looking to learn how to talk the tick table side and to reinforce these ideas to grow the wellness practice, then that's great. That's great. Totally open to that conversation. If you're tired of feeling stagnant both in the office and personally, and just tired of sort of spinning your wheels and not going forward, and you're ready to really do something different to help transform your life and your practice, this is for you. This is for you. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a couple of minutes and we're going to have a short sign-up break. What I'll ask you to do is to take your smartphone, scan this QR code. This will take you to my calendar. On the calendar, you'll be able to book a call. And so this will take 4 or 5 minutes. You can go through your calendar, go through my calendar, see where the open spaces meet and match, and go ahead and book that call. When we come back from this short break, I want to share with you a communication that I use with patients that will allow you to impress upon them the value of chiropractic care in the absence of symptoms and really what led them to your office, because it's really not in their awareness yet. And it might not even be in your awareness. I don't know. But I'm going to share with you a communication that I use that really, really lands great with patients. And you can use this in your initial exam if you like. You can use this when you do your report of findings on the follow-up visit, wherever you feel it fits best for your style. You don't have to change anything that you're doing. Just add in this little communication and I'll tell you it works wonders. So let's play a little bit of music here and we will take a short sign up break and we'll see you in a couple minutes. Well, I hope everybody had time to go ahead and scan that and book a call. I am going to make good on my promise. And I'm gonna share that patient communication with you. Let's do this. Let's stop sharing the screen for now. I'll put my video back on so we can see each other. There we go. And first of all, I want to thank everybody for being on the call today. Thank you so much for spending time. I appreciate you. If you booked a call, thank you very much. I'm excited to learn about your practice and where I might be able to help you out. Chiropractic is such an awesome option for people, and you've probably experienced the same thing. People come into the office and like, oh my God, why didn't I know about this earlier? It's like, well, I don't know. As a profession, we've done kind of a poor job of getting the word out. And of course, we know the resistance out there, right, to what we do, and for the reasons that there's resistance, in the professional world. But still, it's a shame, and we need to get the message out there. Okay, let me uh, let me plug this in real quick. There we go. And so I'm going to share the patient communication. And this is something that I use because people are always coming in and saying they did something wrong that drives their symptoms, right? And they'll say, well, why did this happen? I'll ask them, is this an accident or an injury? Or is this accumulated stress over time? Because that's really the two ways that people get in trouble. And most of them say, well, I can't really think of an event. So, okay, accumulated stress over time. Either that or they just hear the word stress. Oh yeah, stress. Definitely stress, doc. you know. So it's good. It opens the door to the conversation. So I'll say, okay, and it's one of the earlier questions I ask when I'm doing the health history. And then when I do my report of findings, this is when I choose to use this part of the conversation. I'll say, all right, here are your symptoms, and you say that you were maybe sleeping awkwardly in the couch for a few nights, and now you've got this issue. And I'll say that's true, but have you ever thought about what you didn't do? You're telling me what you did. You did this wrong, you did that wrong, and so forth. But have you ever considered maybe what you didn't do? They go, what are you talking about? And I'll say, well, would it surprise you to know that you should have been getting adjusted routinely throughout your whole life? And they'll just sort of look at me weird, and I'll say, look, we can agree that the spine is a body part, true? Okay. Well, which of these two ideas make sense to you? Number one, the spine does not need any routine care. It's just always going to work great from birth, no issues. Or number two, just like every other body part, the spine probably has a routine maintenance schedule that we should follow, even when it's not giving us grief. Which one makes sense? Everybody picks the second. Everybody picks B. And I'll say, do you know what that routine maintenance schedule is? And they'll say no. I say, well, there's a reason for that. Your parents didn't know. They didn't teach you. And then I'll explain all the healthy habits that they do, everything that's proactive. But the spine and the nervous system are always left out because people aren't used to, people don't know this stuff. And so they can't teach their kids. I'll say, it's not your fault, but you should have been getting routine adjustments. And then what I use is the suggestion from Tapio Vitamin's study, where he's a medical doctor that looked at arthritis in joints, and he found that largely irreversible arthritis deposits can accumulate after only 2 weeks of joint immobility. And so I'll use that as the basis, and I'll just, I'll minimize it because I don't want them to feel bad like they were neglecting their body because they didn't know. So I really reinforce the point that it's not your fault, you didn't know. But I will say, research shows that, or research suggests is the term that I use. Research suggests that every 2 weeks is the minimum maintenance schedule for a healthy human spine. So we're looking at about 25 times, 25 times a year. You're 30 years old. Let's say you're 30 years old. So at a minimum, we're looking at about 750 adjustments, believe it or not, that you should have already had. And they kind of look at you. And I'll say, well, you brush your teeth twice a day? Yeah. Well, that's 750 times just in a year. Well, yeah, it's not so much for the spine. No, it isn't. But it exists. And in the absence of that, consequences are probably going to arise. Can we agree that if we neglect anything or we don't give something the attention it deserves, it could be a car, it could be a relationship, could be our spine, could be our teeth, could be anything. But if we have something in our life and we don't give it the attention that it needs, does it make sense that there'll be consequences and not good ones? Yeah, I get it. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So I want them to understand the other side of the coin because our patients are taught to look at what they did, not what they didn't do. And I'll make a simple analogy with a house plant and say you can harm a house plant by giving it too much sun, giving it too much water. Can't you also harm it by neglecting it, not giving it the attention it needs, not giving it water, not giving it fertilizer? Sure. Say, yeah. And our bodies are the same in that regard. Okay. What we do matters, but start to think about what we don't do. Like if you don't drink enough water, right? What happens? Well, I become dehydrated. Sure. And you feel what? Well, I feel tired or I'll get headaches. Exactly. Okay. So being able to let people know that routine chiropractic care from birth was a thing and they've just sort of missed out on it because they didn't know. Now they start to think about, okay, I've got this history of inattention here. Maybe it'll take a little bit longer to get my health back, right? Because I make that connection for them. I'll ask them if they think it's realistic that after 30 years of inattention, that 2 or 3 visits is going to fix it. And they go, well, no, not really. And it gives them an understanding why. Okay, it gives them an understanding why. So I hope that's helpful for you. It's been really helpful for me in my practice and to be able to get people to think about the ability to use chiropractic, the preventative arm, right? Because we know that it's great for getting rid of symptoms, but what about the prevention part? And what about growing your health? And I don't talk about growing your health right away, but but I do want them to understand that there's something beyond just pain relief. There's a prevention component to chiropractic care, which is why kids go, right? And I'll tie that into why parents will bring, newborns and toddlers and preschoolers and so forth into the office, even when they don't have symptoms, because they do. In my office, they do. Your office, maybe they do. Um, Not as common, right? Most parents are going to bring in kids who are symptomatic, but there are quite a few that understand the value even in the absence of symptoms. So I hope that communication works for you. Again, I want to thank you so much for being with me today. I really enjoyed your time and attention. Have yourself a fantastic week, and I hope to talk to all of you that have booked the calls. I look forward to talking with you, sir, and learning about your practice and seeing if it makes sense that we take the next step. So have a blessed day.